So now we'll start our member meeting. And I'd like to start with some introductions. We've got some folks that are new to being here in person with us and some that we haven't seen in a while. So I thought since our chapter project for our chapter display this year is a recipe for art, and I'll talk a little bit more about that if you haven't yet submitted your recipe. But I thought a fun way to start would be sharing our name and a favorite recipe. It doesn't have to be what you're going to draw, but just a favorite recipe. So I'll start. So I'm Susan Muller, and one of my favorite recipes, I have many, but one of them is my gluten-free, dairy-free pumpkin pie.
Oh.
It's really good. With a graham cracker crust. Yeah. So that's my favorite recipe there. But anyway, who would like to go next? Alan?
For what, a recipe?
Just sharing your name and a favorite recipe.
Oh.
A favorite recipe.
I think a pretty killer pumpkin bread, but it's not gluten-free or dairy-free. Yeah. Anyway, I'm Molly. Let's see, past president, I'm going to be doing the workshop today. Hi, everybody. And yeah, I can share a recipe for the pumpkin bread.
Okay.
It's kind of fun. You know, around the holidays, I kind of make little loaves in the morning. So that was my gift for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, fun. Fun. I've done that. I can adapt. I can probably adapt your recipe.
Totally.
All right. And Molly's also our web guru. She's our webmaster. So, thank you, Molly.
Hi, I'm Jean Bogart, and I'm the secretary also. And I have big recipes today. Today, I'm thinking of like my homemade meatballs and spaghetti sauce. So, my list. That's really good. Yeah, the meatballs have like beef and veal and pork in them.
Oh, wow. Sounds very rich.
It's an onion American recipe too.
Fun. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dominic.
I'm Tracy Frying. I'm past president, past exhibition director, and past treasurer. I'm the convention director for our board. So if you have any complaints about your room or the hotel or anything, just come to me.
Got you on speed dial.
My favorite recipe, I'm not a cook or baker really, but I found this winter in the produce section at Mariano's this bag of, it's for banana bread. And you just take 3 bananas that are real ripe and throw this mix in it and a little bit of, I use almond milk and a teaspoon of some maple syrup and some oil and whip it all up and bake it, and it's gluten free, it's everything free, and it comes out, it's like the most moistest banana bread with chocolate chips in it that I've ever eaten before. It's like unbelievable. And when I compare it to like Starbucks banana bread, it's so small in calories.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I can't believe, how moist it comes out. So I've traded that for every other sweet that I used to always eat, and I always stick with that.
Oh, wow. That does sound like a favorite recipe. Yeah, and definitely making stuff from home, even if you're using like a mix, it's still like healthier, almost always than what you get at a restaurant. And I don't say that just because I'm a nutritional epidemiologist. But a long time ago. And my mom taught me that growing up. So, but I'm so glad you found something in it. You know.
I'm David Dahlgren. My recipe that I used is for a cherry cheesecake mug meal. And it's one you can just make in a mug and throw in the microwave one serving at a time. Which keeps me from eating the whole thing, so that makes it healthy even though it's not.
Oh, that was probably healthier than if you bought it at Starbucks.
Well, at least a smaller portion.
Yeah, thank you, Dava. So this is Dava's contributions for our chapter display, and like I said, I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But Dava is also our newsletter editor. So if you are in a show, if you are, going to a show, you've heard about a show that you think other colored pencil artists might be interested in, let me know, let David know, and we're happy to support the work. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you, David.
Yeah, just if you have a thought even, I can probably put it in there somewhere.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, David. Emily.
I'm Emily, I'm the treasurer. Favorite recipe, I don't do the cooking in my house, my husband is the cook. So my favorite recipe of his is he makes a mean chicken tikka masala that I love. Apparently it's not the easiest to make, so I ask for all the time.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you. That sounds wonderful.
Getting hungry now.
I know.
You guys know the recipe is right there when you said I'm on the cooking line. That works for me.
Yeah.
It's nice
Yeah.
for these meetings on Sunday, you know, when you go home, dinner will be ready.
Yeah.
By the time I go, yeah.
That would be nice. That doesn't happen in my house, but that's okay. Awesome. Well, thank you, Emily. Bob.
Bob, I bought a book of soup recipes at the Arboretum. And, there's many that I like, but the one I really like is poblano corn chowder. Really tasty, I love poblanos.
On garden, you know, high school, making them, so you think, put it together. So I'm gonna say, my grandmother's that she would bring in a tin up to the farm.
Are you able to recreate your grandma's recipe?
We tried it once. Grandma didn't make them, so I was eating them, so then they like hers, but close by practice.
Yeah.
That's paper, it was just a treat for me.
Lots of nice memories with the recipe, right? Like it's so often not just about the food itself, but the story behind it. So thank you.
Thank you, love.
I'm Carol Buck, I haven't been here in a while, so here, I'm happy to be back, but I made mine, so I have a whoopie pie, and, my mom is originally from Maine, Portland, Maine, and she has friends, she has a girlfriend, when we were younger and went, she gave us a lot of her recipes, so it's an authentic Canadian, that's kind of where New England, the whoopie pie came from, so I had that, and I really wanted to get her handwriting, but it was bigger than the card, because there's frosting on there too, so, I wrote it, but, yeah, and then the story, you buy a cookbook in Maine or whatever, and the story goes, where did the name whoopie pie come from, and they had the whole story up in Acadia, or the fishermen, or they would go out to sea and they'd come back, or the work, whatever, they would come back and they would get their meal and they would serve them these whoopie pies, and when they would come in, they'd go, whoopee! I don't know if it's true or not, I read it, but I like that story, yeah.
Wow, this is lovely. It's a nice sturdy card and,
Yeah, I glued 2 pieces.
Oh, okay, nice, that's a great idea. So I'm gonna get the clear, like,
Yeah.
you know, so that it's clear on both sides, so as people.
It is
flip
sprayed
through
and
this,
varnished and waxed, and so it should be.
Yeah, nice. All right, well, thank you. Thanks for bringing that.
Hi, Kimberly Malarkey. One of my favorite recipes is I grow a lot of tomatoes, so I can make this spicy spaghetti sauce. It's got a lot of jalapenos, a ton of garlic. It's fairly easy by chopping, but it's good and got a lot of spice.
Awesome, thank you. And Kimberly, you were our past,
And treasurer.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Michelle Fullerton. One of my favorite recipes is blueberry cake with crumb topping. which you use almond flour, so it's really good. My son loves blueberries, so I take that cake quite often.
I'm a fan too, so I'm hoping that's gonna be on your recipe card. If you choose to do one, that sounds lovely, thank you.
I'm Joan Brandon, and my recipe, I haven't done tried yet, I'm hoping to get one soon, was my mother's spaghetti sauce, and she got it from an Italian doctor that was our family doctor. And it's like an all-day deal. So I've been making them a few years. And the funny thing about the story is, you chop up the onions and the green peppers and all that. Well, when I was little, I'd pick everything out and a scoop. And so my mom started grinding everything. So I couldn't pick anything out, and it just made it even thicker. And the secret ingredient for the gelatin. You don't eat them, although my grandmother always eat them. It's just like, oh, grandma. But grandma ate everything with G96, so. So that's the story of the spaghetti sauce.
Oh, wow.
My mom was a great cook.
Awesome. Yeah, lots of spaghetti sauces.
Yeah. Let's go have spaghetti, you guys. Restaurant.
Money making,
Zaza's down the
spaghetti
street.
cook-off.
Zaza's.
Do a spaghetti cook-off for our chapter fundraiser.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, maybe we should. That's a good idea. All right. Thank you, Joan. Diane.
Hi, Diane Curran, my first time here, and judging by all the good recipes, I'm in the right place. I don't have a favorite recipe, I have many, but I'd say my family's favorite recipe would be my mother's meringue cookies. And with grandchildren, they fit really well because it's like feed them sugar and send them home. So, payback is, but they melt in your mouth and they're easy, super easy, and the kids absolutely love them. And you could put any color sprinkles on them that you want, and you could either use them dish them out with a spoon, or if it's a holiday, you could make you could pipe them out with little stars or snowmen or whatever you want. It's fun.
Maybe this is a good time to talk about the recipes. I had it a little bit later, but so our chapter project this year is a recipe for art. And the chapter project is something that our chapter will represent us at the International Convention this summer in Bethesda. And so not all the chapters, but many chapters will have a display of something to share, right, with the other attendees. So we can all have, even if we didn't get our artwork in, right, we're still represented. And the CPSA founder, Vera Kurnow, she read our last newsletter, and I already mentioned this in the board meeting, but kudos to Deva, because she loved our newsletter, and she loved the idea of Recipe for Art. And she's like, that's a great idea, I'm gonna use that with my students. And she's looking forward to seeing it. And I'm like, okay. No pressure, everyone. So I know many people missed our meetings earlier this year in March and in January. So I am happy to take your recipe cards through July 1st. If you live in the area, I'm happy to meet you somewhere, or I can share my address and you can mail me your artwork. So either way, you have time. And all we're looking for is really like what you see here, courtesy of Carol and Deva. And Emily brought theirs in so far, so you all saw Deva's, and this was Emily's Swedish pancakes. And Emily and Carol have the drawing on one side and the recipe on the back, right, which is great. And Deva wrote hers on a separate piece of paper, so I will likely, I'll either try to shorten this somehow or, and put it on the back, or I just might make a separate card so that there's one card here and another below it, or I'll just paste it. Depends how many I get, how I'm gonna fill the book. So, I think so, I could do it as little things that stick, but then I just didn't know if people didn't spray them and shellac them and everyone's touching the cards. But I'm open to ideas, because I haven't put them together yet, so if people have an idea.
Same question, does it matter which direction?
No.
Because I kind of started mine, well, one of them I think, but I'm doing it on a drafting film too, so I didn't know, and then I have these recipe sleeves, but they're kind of, they might be too big.
Oh, but that's actually a great idea. You can put them in a recipe box.
This might be, I don't know if this is too big to sell different other sizes, but.
This is a great idea. I didn't even know this existed. This is great.
Like started, so just one of my, I might do more than one recipe, this is like a drink
Kind of fun in a recipe box.
Pardon?
That'd be fun.
I think it would be fun in a recipe box if people just kind of flip through it, like, you know, when you're at an art fair. So actually, I like that idea better.
We might have some sleeves that are more exact fit for that, I'm not sure.
They do, they have different sizes.
I heard, this, I think this is 3 by 5, I think.
Yeah, I expect they'll be a little different, so where did you get this?
I ordered them.
I think at Hallmark even sell them still.
Yeah.
Find a Hallmark store, yeah.
They might, yeah.
You can go to clearbags.com and they have like.
Yeah.
Or Uline.
Uline would be a
You know,
good.
it's just too bad, I just
Yeah.
got a catalog of Uline, for some reason we get a thick one every.
Oh, we do too.
Yeah.
We don't know why. It just shows up. All right, so I'll check Uline, and you said clear bags?
And we should do 3 by 5, did you say?
Yeah, 3 by 5.
And does it have to be on, recipe, you know, or can it be on?
Recipe for art, so, pardon?
Can it be on good paper?
Oh,
Yeah, I did.
I did mine.
I did on watercolor.
just as long as it's that size.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and even if it's a little bigger, if it's a slice, it's fine.
I can reprint what I got there and pull it down to something.
Oh,
Glue it to the back and just send it. to
oh, great, yeah, no, just print
So you
it.
don't,
Yeah,
how
okay,
you
thank you.
not
I
Yeah,
don't know. They have her too, I'm sure.
yeah, Jeannie's saying she's got hers on drafting film, so whatever media you want, and then, yeah, I'll put them in, I'll get a little nice box,
Like,
recipe box.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really
I've been
fun.
doing a lot of glasses.
You're Becker, I like this.
Your job is
A lot of regular.
better too, you're all.
Oh, yeah, so I have to go find some.
dude, he,
I had like,
use a piece of sheets.
I had one like a photo album, and I just thought, well, I'll just pick out the paper, and take out the photos, that was my default, but I like the recipe box idea. Alright,
If it's on the side.
so yeah, so if anyone, if you're still working on your recipe, and it can be, it's a recipe for art. And so if it's a recipe and you're like, well, my husband does the cooking, or whoever, you can draw your husband, like, I mean, I'm open to interpretation, that's right. You draw your favorite restaurant, I'm open to however you wanna interpret that, right? But yeah, just let me know, and let me know, just so that I get them by July 1st. And so feel free to email me, and we can meet up, like I said, or you can just mail it to my house.
If you need more, do you want more?
Yeah, if you're just like, hey, these are fun, and then maybe we can take the ones that we have and maybe, auction them off or have a little fundraiser later as well. Very fun. Yeah. So. Other thoughts about the recipe for art? So yeah, if you wanna make a second one, if you're like, yeah, I love this, I'm into it, awesome, cause Vera's gonna be like, looking at our display, so.
In addition to the recipe card box, maybe scan them and have a poster with all of them, so that, you know, if people don't wanna wait and look through the recipe box, they have something else to look at.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Actually, that's a good idea, because I'm picturing the recipe box on the table with all the other displays. and it could kind of get lost in the shuffle, or people might overlook it.
Or people might take.
But if there's a poster or something behind it, we can make a poster mounted on foam core with an easel behind it, and we can attach the box to it if we want to.
Oh, yeah.
Use display, yeah.
Right.
You-
So this is in travel works, right?
Well, we can design
Carry
the recipe box too.
Oh, like put,
Put something like graphics or something on the recipe box.
oh,
CPSA, whatever.
that's a great idea.
You can always you can always even, print the ones there and, get a color copy and decoupage it onto the box.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
or matte,
That'd be a whole lot easier, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I know Jeannie is too, but somehow I write it down, maybe I'll remember it. Active writing. Oh, great ideas. So yeah, so that's great. I have a scanner at home, so I will scan the ones I already have, and, if you guys wanna scan yours too and send them, or if you just wanna give me the paper, I can scan it. It's all good. Yeah. Other great ideas? Or you know? Alright. Well, fabulous. Well, we're gonna do some meeting business. I know some of you have an agenda. We're gonna do a little meeting business before Molly does her watercolor demo, and then we'll have at least an hour for that. Hopefully a little more. But I do want to congratulate those of our members who, first I want to congratulate everyone who submitted to the international show this year, and I know there were some of us who did. And I want to congratulate at least four of our members. I was scanning the list. At least four of us made it into the international exhibition. So I want to congratulate Gail Collier, her piece In Absentia, Tracy Brine, Songbirds of a Different Feather, Judith Shepelek, Shrine Ridge in Bloom, and Lynn Stevenson, Underbelly. So looking forward to seeing those on the show, and they'll probably come up on the website sometime. Question or comment? So, congratulations.
Well, you feel bad that you didn't get in. Connie Gant didn't get in, Jesse Lane didn't get in, John Smoko didn't get in.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Jesse Lane, second year in a row, Connie Gant, your second year in a row. A lot of big hitters that did not get in.
I think one year, was it Gary Green or was it Bernard? One of them turned up at the convention with a t-shirt that said, "I survived rejection." In Seattle or Oklahoma, it's way early in the thing, but it's, they were writing the books.
Yeah.
And they didn't get in.
Well, Kira's got a great story, so our CPSA founder, that she submitted a piece that she submitted to like somewhere in New York, some really big art show or something. And this is, I don't know, correct me Tracy, you probably heard the story too. But she submitted it, and it's not a colored pencil show at all, but she got first place, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, it was like super like, fancy New York show. And then she submitted it to a small show somewhere in Wisconsin. They were like, yeah, no. So I was like, all right. So I submitted for the first time this year, and it was actually a very easy process. And the wonderful thing is if you submit at the convention, everyone who submitted your art is displayed. They have a slideshow, and they sometimes they have everyone's name there too. So it's not just your artwork, but they have your name, and people ooh and ah, and sometimes gasp out loud when they see.
They call your name out. And the thing about it is, if this is your first time you entered, people don't really know who you are, but then after that night they do.
Yeah, that was something I'd never gone to a convention before, so I do encourage you, if you're looking for, something to do this summer. I'd never gone, and it really was very fun. And one thing that surprised me though is everybody was like, so what did you enter? They just assumed you entered, and I was like, oh, I didn't enter anything. And they were like, how did you not enter? Like, of course you should enter. Like, it's just part of the fun of getting your work out there and sharing it with other people. And another thing that really inspired me too was there were pieces that, you know, online, like, you're like, oh, yeah, they all look kind of cool, but then you go in person and some of them are like, really, that guy? And then some of the ones you see that didn't get in, like I said, people audibly gasped. So it's just interesting to just see all the different styles and just knowing that somebody, like, there's always somebody that's gonna like your artwork, right? And somebody that probably won't.
Sometimes, you don't get in because you didn't take a very good shot of your work. And when the judge looks on, sometimes they do look on a big screen like this, it doesn't transfer very well and they reject you. Or, if you ever enter into the show, never enter one piece. Always enter two pieces, because then the judge stops at your name and has to decide which one he likes better. And during that stop, we look at them both, he may say, you know what, I kinda like this one, let's decide, I really like this one. But if he only sees one piece of yours, he'll make a decision right away and go on to the next person.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the same price, right?
Yeah.
One or two pieces.
But they have a criteria, the judges have a criteria that CPSA set up that is a scoring sheet, which I don't like. It's a scoring sheet and they decide between 1 and 10 creativity, between 1 and 10 composition, between, you know, originality, and they put an arbitrary score in there, and it may not be the piece that he looks at and just wows him. And because I judge shows where it wasn't the best piece that won the show, but it was a piece that really resonated with me and I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It might not be the best technique, but I thought it was the best piece of the show. And that's what it should be.
I've seen that at some other shows, like Midwest Color, where one year ago they went, the piece that won, I was like, it's okay, but I could understand that it spoke to other people, right? It didn't speak to me. There was another piece that really did speak to me, and I was like, that should have won. But you're right, like, what moves one person might not move another.
Well, this show, you can enter it in, if it doesn't get in, and there have been pieces rejected one year and given an award another.
Does it just
Part of it is what pieces are turned in that do, you know, what choices does he have?
And the jury.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, you said over 400 pieces this year were submitted. And so 102 were accepted. But I imagine, you know, it's tough to whittle it down.
And we have to go through, as a board, we go through all the images and we knock out the ones that were cheated. They cheated from the idea. They copied somebody else's photograph, they stole images off of somebody's Instagram page and used that for their drawing. They've used AI, they've used, I don't tell how to do it. You heard about the one that happened last year?
We've read about it.
I haven't figured it out.
Well, they emailed me this year about mine, because they're like, there's a lot of pieces of just hand holding instruments, can you send your reference? Yep, here you go.
So if you don't have, if they see an image that looks suspicious, or I run it through an AI program, that it comes up that this is 100% likely to be AI, or 90% likely to be AI, they will come back to you and say, or I run it through and that image is popped up on Instagram, they'll come back and it will come back to you and say, can we see your work in progress? Your history or whatever.
Yeah.
And we had a number of them this year that we knocked out because they weren't their own work.
Yeah, the AI question is interesting. So I'm a university professor, that's how I remember. Not for art, but nutritional genealogy. But AI it's a big challenge. But I did just listen just this morning to like a TED talk, you know, about how the world needs our creativity kind of thing. And the speaker was just commenting on how, you know, we are made to create, right? And that people are probably going to get pretty tired pretty quickly of the AI generated images. Even my undergraduate students, like they can see videos. They're like, oh, that video is completely AI generated. Oh, they just see it right away. And that there's going to be this like renewed hunger pretty soon for like, if people keep going down that AI route, like it's a fun new toy kind of right now, but that eventually, like people they like seeing mistakes, they like seeing the quirky decisions, right? They like seeing reality, right? So I hope that's true.
Yes.
But I think, and it also, this video too, which is, I'm sure this will resonate with you guys, right, was just talking about how important it is just for our well-being, and that art is so often relegated to children or to retirees, and yet it's something that we all need. Like, it doesn't have to be color pencil, right, obviously, but whatever your art is, right, whatever you create, could be cooking, could be poetry, could be whatever, that gives us agency in this world, right, that can be so overwhelming at times. So I think that's another thing that I hope will keep AI at bay. And we're taking over.
One more thing I could say about the acceptance and rejection. I have a friend who's a fairly well-known watercolor artist and in a lot of circles. And she's always had the best attitude toward being accepted or rejected. And more appropriate when, well, she takes the slips that either say accepted or rejected. That's the wallpaper in the studio bathroom. She says, I just need to give it that much concern either way. And it's not good for me to pout over it, and it's not good for me to get a big head, so I just put them there.
Yeah, that's good, that's good. Right, so just sharing our art with the world, right, and however we do that. So I do encourage you all, you know, to submit and to submit in the fall, for our, chapter show. So I guess I'm just skipping ahead here a little bit, but, why don't I take a step back and do like regular minutes, our regular, and then I'll talk about our chapter show that I hope everyone will submit something for, because you have a better chance of getting our show. Just say it that way. Okay. So anyways, everyone should have copies of the minutes from our March meeting. We didn't have too many folks there, but I'm just wondering if anyone has any questions, or those of you that were there, if you have any corrections. And if anyone at the meeting, Ava shared, it was our critique meeting, and Dava had brought these helpful hints from Robert Bryan Smith on critiquing your own work, and they're very helpful. So if anyone would like a copy, we have copies up front. I don't know if we need like a motion before we get into it. Any concerns about the minutes? I didn't have a ton of.
Oh, no, the minutes, I just those out.
So if you'd like them, you're welcome to. If you're like, nah, I'm good, that's all good too, so.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I always learned something from these.
Thank you for passing this out.
Yeah.
I got it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we could just pass those out.
Yeah.
Emily, do you mind sharing again the treasurer's report?
We have $1,441.14. Easy number.
Awesome. All right. So we're doing pretty good, so membership, we, had 2, members renewed in April, so thank you for that. And, we have 43 members right now, and 56 including the CPSA, governing board. Because they're members of every chapter, but, those that are likely to come to our meetings are 43. Right, and Tracy, he's on the governing board, but he also counts as one of our members because he comes from our meetings. So we have 43, so that's good. That's a good, doing pretty well there. Yeah, our newsletter. Anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, I just like I mentioned earlier, don't be afraid to send me, pictures or even just a paragraph if there's something you want me to know or something you've learned and just thought other people would like to know. It's a very open-ended newsletter, so what I get, I print. And what sometimes it's a pretty small letter because I'm not getting anything. So don't be afraid to brag. Tell me what good things happen, but if you see an article that you particularly like, that's okay too. Something you want me to know about. Something you're doing, something you have a friend that's doing, or an event that's going to go on. If the timing works out right with when the newsletter's coming out, that's probably the biggest problem on some announcements, but yeah.
But if it's gonna come before, if you send it to me and Dava, and if it's coming like before our next newsletter, I'll share it with the membership. I just try not to overwhelm you guys with like emails like every week. But if it's pressing, if you hear about it at the last minute, let me know. Sorry.
In the past too, like if you tried a product, something, sharing that with people, cause it's a good place to do that, or art book, that can be fun.
The next newsletter will probably come out probably in about June, because I like to do something after the May that kind of sums up the year and is a place to tell you what's coming up over the summer.
Great. All right, so sometime in June, middle-ish of June, so. But whenever you hear it, just send it to us, and we're happy to.
Yeah, you don't have to wait for any particular date, just go ahead and send it to me. If it's too exciting, maybe I'll change the date and make sure I get it in there.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thank you. And Molly, I think you have something similar for the web.
If anybody, has artwork, or again, maybe you're in a show or something like that you want, you could send me and we can post it on the website, because our website images are a little dated, and we're gonna take some photos today of you guys painting and working during the demo. But if anything that you can think of, even if it's you with a picture of your artwork, or just to kind of let people know and see what other members are working on, that would be great. Yeah, a little community going on the website.
I'll have Gail send her picture to me, and I'll send my picture and Gail's picture to you.
Yeah, we should definitely put those up.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And even those that were in the Explore This, the people that got into Explore This, back earlier this year.
Yeah.
You could put
There
your
really is
pictures on
no
too.
line, send them all photos.
Yes, send me.
Just those who got work in the international show.
Yeah, send me anything. I'll just do here's some members' artwork, the latest artwork, but then I'll also do the ones that got accepted, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Diane.
It made me think, when Tracy was saying submit 2 pieces of art, that's what I did for Explore This. And I got accepted into Explore This, and I was all excited because it was like the first thing I've done in art since 40 years ago. So, so it's, the first accomplishment. But then the other piece, which I was really hoping was the one that was going to be selected, that one I ended up entering into the Boise, Idaho chapter, and that got the Donor's Choice Award or something. So it was something totally unexpected, and it wasn't one of the prizes, but the comments that, I think when we were talking about rejection, I think more important than that is when you get accepted, why you're accepted. The comments that were made resonated with what I was the emotions I was trying to evoke with my artwork. And that's what's important, not whether you get an award or not, but whether it was almost more exciting for me to get the Donor's Choice Award than it was to get any of the other awards. Because it was something that this guy felt like, or woman, I don't even know, it was anonymous, that this was overlooked, and this resonated so much, and that meant like so much to me, just starting out again on this art journey after years of life.
Awesome, wow, thank you for sharing that, yeah. And, make sure you send Ava the stuff from the Boise. The Boise show, yeah, that'll be great for our newsletter. All right, what else? I included in the newsletter, a little info about the new CPSA portal, member portal. And, how many people here have tried it so far? A few folks, yeah. Everyone was silent, come on. Yeah, so there was an email that went out like around April 10th or something. And, if you're planning to go to the convention, you need to do it quickly, but I encourage everyone to sign up for it because there's a lot of really great new features. Like, I was like, oh, every back issue of like To the Point for like the last 12 years or something like that. And like everything's like in one place. So I don't know, anyone want to say more about it?
Well, the biggest thing that we're trying to accomplish with the portal is keeping track of your signature status. And we were doing that by manually doing that. And this way, it's automatically, we can find your signature status, you can find it. We keep it up to date, especially if, like, the international show this year, we're not having to go through records and double checking records to see if you got signature this year or not. It's all on there. Because a lot of times you forget yourself, am I up for a 10-year or, you know, where am I at on my 10-year? And you can go online and check that out. But also if you're registering for the convention and you want to have a workshop, and then now, you know, I can't do that workshop on this date and I move to Thursday, that's easy to do. I've had people who cancel the whole convention for some reason or another, and it only takes me, you know, 30 seconds to go in and cancel it, reimburse all the money. It's on their credit card a couple days later. So it's a whole lot easier.
Yeah, I can see that being a lot more streamlined, and everything's just there, you don't have to write to anybody, you just go in yourself and just.
I thought it was pretty neat, it went down to the rabbit hole, just looking at old issues to see how the artwork was from when it started till now. And there's a little change, but not a lot, you know, art changes, you know what I mean, same type of pictures, you know.
Yeah.
But I found it was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah.
Look at old issues.
Yeah. And the light fastness workbook is available. You don't have to like write to anyone again, you know. So you're gonna go to
It's very good though, cause I did write or email them and I got it right away from the guy that does it.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So if you have any problems with that, let me know. Or you can write directly to Kathy Valente. She should be able to help you, but it should be pretty.
What they'll do is they'll send you that letter again with the link. You know, all you do is click on the link and then create your profile, and the password.
Yeah, it didn't take long though at all.
Because if you're a member, your profile is already created.
Yeah.
You just have to get to it.
Yeah.
We've already created you in there.
Yeah, and it was just easy. I was just, when I first went I clicked the link and I was like, yeah, where do I go? Oh, there's member portal, it's a big button at the top. And I just didn't look at it. But it actually was really quick. So if you haven't done it yet, I encourage you to do that, so that you're all, up to date. And I encourage you as well, if you're looking to go out to the DC area this summer, go to the convention, it's really quite fun. And the workshops are really fun, and everybody's really nice and excited about colored pencil art. So it's just a really fun time if you've never been. Yeah.
My niece is in Lothian, which is right out of Memphis, is an hour away. So I'm planning my yearly trip to my niece and going to see the show.
Oh, great.
Because I've never seen it before, you know,
Oh,
so.
fun.
So
I'll be so impressed.
I just wanna see this in real life, cause, you know, a photograph is great, but this is
Totally
work.
different.
Yeah, so I'm excited about the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it's really different, like online, you're like, oh, and it's just like a little,
Yeah.
you know, it's a tiny picture, then you go in person, and some of them are just huge and just amazing, right? They're just incredible.
If you're taking Boyna Johnson's class,
Yeah.
if you don't know anything about Boyna Johnson, if you go on, cause I've talked to her numerous times, setting up her workshops, she is tons of pictures of her with, let's say, Quincy Jones, Alicia Keys, a lot of, artists, she's in LA, she has a lot of portraits, does a lot of portraits of them, they buy a lot of her pieces at the shows. So has pictures of her with everybody in the musical world, the American musical world, that are somebody.
Wow, so I'll be
So
like
that's gonna be a good class.
2 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Once I take her class, so.
Boyna,
Yeah. And Jan Fagan's doing one too, on drawing from like your imagination.
Yeah.
Which I'm really intrigued by. Alright. Yeah. So that should be fun, that should be fun too. And they have like the, evening where they have the giveaways, where they, you know, give away tons of products. Like, way more than you can possibly use in like your lifetime. And, they show, like I said, everyone who entered, everyone's pieces get, shared with the whole audience. And then there's also a dinner where they give out the awards, and, that's really fun too. And they have a silent auction.
You also have the drop-in sessions too.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think the
those
biggest
are-
one this year is gonna be, Deborah, Klowski, from the DC chapter. Her 1 hour drop-in session is gonna be a 2 hour drop-in session, and it's gonna be a mock jury.
Oh, wow.
So if you wanna understand how the jury process is when you enter, not just our show, other shows too, and what they look for, you're gonna be part of the jury process and learn how it's done.
Oh, wow. Maybe I should
Yeah,
drop one of my
pretty cool.
workshops and do the drop-in workshops. I don't know, but, yeah, they do, they have the, if you don't wanna commit to the cost and time of a full day workshop, you can do the drop-in ones.
Which is
for
free.
an hour, which are free with your admission, you know, with your registration. And the registration is only $35.
Just go to the show. And then they have the things called drop-in sessions.
Yep, the drop-in sessions, and they have them like on both days, Thursday and Friday, of that week. Yeah, it's like July 30th through August 3rd, I think.
Yeah. Saturday, the show's at like between 1 and 3 at the mansion of Strathmore,
Okay.
which is like a mile, 1.5 miles from the hotel. And then that evening, we're gonna have our goodbye dessert party where it's nothing but coffee and desserts all night, from like 7 till 10.
And they have the trade show too, right?
The trade show's on Saturday morning,
The art, yeah,
Yeah.
the trade show.
which is huge.
So I'm glad that, I'll see you there, and, yeah. See you, Joe, It's fun. That is. Well, awesome. All right, I think you also saw in the newsletter, if you have a chance to read that, we're gonna have, instead of a workshop, like a formal workshop, in the fall, we're going to have a retreat for our chapter. And it's gonna be at Linda Hildebrand's house. She says hello to everyone. She is in Indiana today, seeing her brand new, and maybe her first great grandbaby. So really joyful reason, if you have to miss those good one. And she's graciously invited us to her home in Hampshire, Illinois. And it's, I believe, on like 16 acres of land. And it's a day for us to get together to do some art. We're welcome to walk around, try plein air. The main activity, the official activity, is the art Savior Does kind of activity, where if you've got pieces that you kind of started and given up on and you just don't know what else to do, bring them and we'll trade. and, see if maybe someone else can, make lemonade out of what you think is a lemon. But that is, everything is just, it's really just time for us to get together as a group, hang out and do some art. And however we want to do that and make that art, we've got suggested activities, like I said, the Save Your Duds kind of art swap, but also plein air, just walking around, just working on whatever piece you're working on, you just want to bring that, just hang out. That will be Saturday, September 13th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Lunch is included, and it'll be $40. And you can look for that registration page probably the next month or so on our website. So we'll send out a notice when that's out. There is a rain date of the 20th because Linda's like, no, you probably want to be inside because it's such a lovely property. So, so save both dates if you can, if that's possible. I know it's hard, but that should be really fun. I don't know, it's your daughter's birthday, bring your daughter.
Oh, she would, yeah, she'd love it.
Yeah, awesome, all right.
Watercolor Essentials would be perfect for that, for plein air. So
And we will have some pencils, which we're gonna start in a few minutes. We got plenty of time still, but I just wanna talk a bit about our chapter show this year. So last year we didn't have one. It was a Midwest Color year, but it didn't feel like it because Midwest Color, rather than being in the fall, the Detroit chapter hosted it in March. And so it just kind of felt like fall came around, and people were like, where's our show? What are we doing? And the place we'd been to before, like they're closed now, and it was very expensive. And so we decided this year, so next year we're gonna be back, so in 2026, we've already reserved, thanks to Jeannie, the Prairie Center for the Arts in Schaumburg. So that's already set, but for this year, we decided to go online, to do an online show. And so, unless somebody's like, no, I know a place right now, we can do it in person, let me know. But otherwise, we're gonna try an online show and see how that goes. And we have a committee of folks who have volunteered. We have Tracy, Jeannie, our most recent exhibition coordinator, Emily and Molly and myself are already in the committee. We're looking for one more person who can help us, especially with like just posting about it on social media, getting the word out. Just posting about it, because we don't want any one person to be overly burdened with having to do too much to set up the show. So, and we're also looking along those lines for a social media coordinator for the chapter anyways. We have a chapter YouTube channel. Somebody just signed up actually, I got notice about it. I was like, who's this person? At first I was like, it came to my like regular Gmail account. I was like, I'm not on YouTube, like, oh, the chapter. So somebody subscribed, I don't know. We also have a Facebook presence, but we need somebody that just, puts up stuff like, I'm not on social media, but it would be good to spread the word. It shouldn't be that much, like somebody gets in a show, somebody, we've got the folks that were accepted into the international, just looking for someone that could help with social media.
With the chapter show, you want to get it on social media because you want to open it up to everybody, all the other chapters, because you want a lot of outside money coming in.
Yeah. So that's an opportunity too, when we have it in person, right? We have just the local folks. And our last show back in 2023, we didn't have that many submissions. We actually ended up opening it up to just, like, we couldn't fill walls, we couldn't fill space. So online, maybe, if we get some folks from other chapters that could help as well. It really looks like you might want to.
I'm wrinkling my brow. Well, I was thinking about, I'm not a big social media person, but I have an Instagram page, and I think several people might do that. Could you just send it out, notice to members, like with an image that they could post, everyone could post to their page, or?
I'm not on Instagram. I'm not joking. Like I'm not on. I'm on LinkedIn. So what I would need is somebody who could do that and say, hey, everybody that's, I don't, yeah, we're just looking for someone that could help do stuff like what you're talking about. Well, think about it, because I am not the person for that. The president stuff, and I'm not on social media, so I really don't even fully, I have an idea of how it works, right? I live in the world, but I'm trying to get down that rabbit hole.
Well, once we put a committee together, we start talking about this, we might be able to amongst ourselves
Okay.
figure out, you know, what we can do, or who can, in our group can post it, or start posting it, or advertise it. Here's a link to click on to apply for it, that, you know, that link takes us back to our website.
Yeah, so if we can do that, and then, I mean, whatever we draft, right, so some of what the committee has to do is also, we have to like write this up afterwards, like, we've gotta write up what happened, there's like reports, like stuff to go to, you know, to the point, and, all of that, so, just the more people that can help with those little things, it just decreases the burden for everyone else, right? But yeah, so our committee will meet, and I can certainly push out something, email, that other people wanna take that and post that to who you know on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, that could work too.
And don't be surprised if we reach out to you and ask, could you write a little blurb up for us? I know you enter the show. Well, all we're gonna ask you is to just help, just write a little paragraph about this.
Yeah.
Since AI was mentioned earlier, any pieces submitted, since it's an online show, I'm going to run through either Blaze or Nightshade, which are programs that are AI protected. Blaze is AI protected, Nightshade is AI poison.
So yeah, so your artwork, so don't be shy about having it on a website, like Emily's gonna make sure nobody steals our artwork.
Somebody could maybe save it, but the AI itself, it won't be able to be picked up by that. It puts in kind of non-visual pixels that the AI picks up as noise, so it can't take that image and use it. Nightshade picks up the piece and goes, oh, this is a picture of a cow. And it might be a picture of a dog, but it tells the AI it's a picture of a cow. So it kind of poisons the well of its learning. Depends on how much you hate AI, which one you want to use.
I really hate
So if somebody tells me otherwise, they're all getting Nightshades.
So anyways, think about that. The chapter show will be this fall, and our committee will need to set up like the dates and get everything going with the, so that people can submit, right, in writing a little prospectus. And there's a lot of little moving parts, but that's where more barrier, I think. Okay. Let's see. The last thing for today is our treasurer is just completed her most recent term, I believe, and I just want to confirm, are you willing to run again for treasurer? Would anyone else be interested in running for treasurer? I haven't heard from anybody. Okay, so I'd like to move that we vote for treasurer, and all in favor of re-electing Emily as our treasurer, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? No one's opposed. So congratulations and thank you, Emily, for continuing that role. Emily's a huge help to me. It's my first year as president at Molly as well. As I transitioned at the start of every year, there's all these like financial tax related forms, and I was just like, Emily, what can you help with? She's like, I can do almost all of these. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. It was such a help, because I was like,
Tracy showed me how to do it before.
so thank you, Tracy. So yeah, so So yeah, so that is also the good news, like with the exhibition committee, with anything that's going on, right? We have members who've done it before, right? And we have many past board members here, and they can help you. So please don't feel like overwhelmed, like, I don't know, I don't have time. No, I don't have time, but just make it happen.
We have a board that you can ask questions, rely on, that
Yeah.
Rick Forney is your DCC director, your district chapter director. And he's a guy, if you really have any questions, you're stuck on something, you go to him, and then if he can't answer it, he knows people on the board that he'll relay that question to, and then get you an answer. So
Yeah.
we don't want you to be running this thing on your own. It's all really hands off, we're not gonna tell you how to run it. But if you have any problems, we wanna help you out.
Yeah, no, thank you, and that's the good thing about going to the district chapter forum, is like hearing what everyone else is doing and getting all those ideas and figuring out how to do stuff. And yeah, Rick has been helpful in the past when I've had questions. So yeah, for sure. But it still is something that the more members that are involved, just the more we're all invested in it, and the more we can enjoy being part of the color pencil chapter here, and not where no one person burns out.
Yeah.
Right, because I definitely heard that last year from a lot of the chapter presidents who were just, feeling very burnt out. That there would be very few people who were involved. So our fall meeting is usually our best attended, right? And this past fall, we had lots of people, and everyone had great ideas, and I was like, this is great. And then, life happens and people get busy. But we're always open to hearing ideas that you might have to, even if it's just a few of us that get involved and do stuff, as you've seen in the newsletter, sometimes we run into each other at other art shows, right? You just never know who's interested in some of those same little things as you are. So I just encourage you to share whatever ideas, everything, with Dava, not just for the newsletter, but just share them with me, share them with each other, so that we can kind of grow our color pencil activities. All right, that's all I got. Business-wise, anything else people would like to say before we take a short break? And Molly's gonna lead us in our demo. Any questions, concerns, outrages? All right. Well, thank you. If anyone needs a bathroom break, or Joe, did you bring something to a show and tell or something that you want to critique, or?
Yeah, gosh, I didn't know about that, but yeah, I would love it, because I'm struggling between, and reach out to Jeannie about what is, how smooth do you make the drawings? Is it okay to have, I'm sure that there's an individual answer to it. Are they, if you're starting and you're really burnishing, is the whole thing should be like that? Or should there be, is it okay to have the texture of the paper showing through, and combined together? And so I did a study of something for bigger piece, and so yeah, that would be great. I didn't expect you to end. I was going to pounce on Jeannie over there. Okay, Jeannie, this is in person. So yeah, that would be great. So this is a study for a bigger painting. Where drawing? Yeah.
Come on.
So
We're here till 4 o'clock. So.
Okay. So I've kind of become enamored of statues, and this is my nephew's Russian blue cat. There's turquoise in this, and the lines were in a photograph of Cody. So Cody's, and I don't know, when I blew it up, all these lines, these green lines were going through Cody and the cat, because the cat's on Cody's shoulder. And that's Petey. He's got a big fancy title, and they call him Petey. I don't understand why. Anyway, So what my question was, is here I did a lot of burnishing and used the Gamsol. So I got this kind of faded, blended look, which I really like. And the same thing down here, and then use the Gamsol in different places, so. I don't even know what I'm asking, just.
It looks great, it's beautiful, the blending is amazing.
Is the blending, and then you can, so I can have areas, I know it's individual, I know it's all individual, but I can have areas that are really tight and really filled in heavily, and then like that, and then areas that show the texture of the paper. This is that Stonehenge?
You did your,
Stonehenge?
the one you did with all the blending, I would say.
Oh, the whiskey glass?
Yeah.
Oh, that's in my house. Okay, well, it took me a whiskey. I was thinking of it. That's in my studio. I like that piece. So, I don't know, any comments? And this is just
Personal
a bigger piece.
preference,
I think if you use gray paper, why would you cover the whole gray paper and not let the paper show through? I mean, there's a reason why you pick a certain paper. I think one of the problems with colored pencil is that people, they don't wanna call them drawings, because they wanna cover every little inch, and they don't feel like that the drawing's worthy of the paper showing through. They feel like they have to cover every single inch, it's gotta be burnished tight. Everything has to be, no matter how big the drawing is, everything has to be all in the same focus.
Okay.
And that's not the way you see things. So I think the way you have paper showing through, you have images that are burnished, you have images that are softer, it keeps it interesting that way. I mean, if you wanna do a drawing where everything is perfectly sharp, and you just wanna show off your technique, which is fine, because that can get pretty boring. It doesn't really move your eye. And you can tell there's some focus arts that way where they just wanna show that their technique and show off their technique, that they can copy something exactly, and there's nothing really interesting about that little tiny area. Whereas you do see some of the drawings where that's really soft in the background, and it's really muted, and the colors are blending together, and you're not quite sure what that is, but that's probably the most interesting part of the drawing. I keep going back to that,
And I have a lot of trouble with that, because even with my watercolors, I tend to make everything the same all the way through.
Yeah.
Lights and darks, but not let things vary.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law, actually, I sent it to her, and she critiqued it, and she said, well, Joan, the green lines are all the same, you need some highlights in them, and, I don't even know what the green lines are called, other than some kind of life force to me. I love to put lines in everything, and this has to be, she has to be changed, because she's like from a model, like a statue that I bought, and I'm enamored with her. If I do a statue, a painting for a statue to enter, I understand, but I can use anything to do it. No? I can enter it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I have changed her, but I'm a little obsessed with her. She's a mermaid, and she's in my house, and she's one of those white statues, and she changes throughout the day, and if Gary and I aren't agreeing on something, I say, well, the mermaid. It's all about me, I need some people on my side. Oh, okay, all right, that helps.
Joan, too, when I look at it, like the part that's burnished and the part that doesn't, I don't feel like I'm looking at it and saying, oh, she didn't finish it, she should burnish the rest or something. It feels like they're working together.
It's art, so art, it can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, but good work, one work.
Yeah,
But
but
like you're saying too, where like people will go and go, oh, you burnished that, but not the other.
Right, and gives a contrast when you're done, and that was so fun, because those are supposed to be seashells, they didn't exactly, but it doesn't matter what they are, but that was so fun to use the Gamsol, and it got all smudgy, you know, and then just go back in and, do that, so, and it was supposed to be a study, but you know, it's colored pencil, so you know what happened.
Oh, I was like, wow, you're like, you might be entering that somewhere, I don't know.
It's so funny, cause I always thought my watercolors took so long, they're just, phew, they're nothing compared to colored pencil.
If you can stand up there and justify what you did or the reason why you did it, we're gonna challenge you.
That's helpful too.
And looking at the texture of the paper, we as colored pencil artists have to remember that a lot of pieces that we see are online. And when we look at pieces online, we're not seeing a lot of the texture, especially if the resolution of the original piece is lower. And using the paper, I mean, I'm looking at it from a distance, and then I walked up close up. It stands well, it reads well from a distance. It also reads well up close, and unless you told me that you used Gamsol, I would not have, it wouldn't have stuck out. So I think it's just beautiful the way, if it contributes to what you're trying to accomplish, what's the difference?
That's very helpful, because I haven't seen a lot of colored pencil show. I mean, I'm ecstatic that I get to go this year to the show, you know, and I entered and didn't get in, and that's okay, because I got a pretty tough time and you have to. You can't take it personally. I had a judge say one time in an exhibition, and it was a little capricious. There were two of them, and they said, well, we picked this show on this day, but if we had come back another day, we might have made some changes, but you only have so much time to pick those shows that are like a vicinity show. You actually go in, you know, you look at the slides, but for the awards, I think, and it was a little capricious, but it also did have a point, because things strike you. When I'm judged for something on occasion, you know, I know one show I judged that everyone was just appalled at when I gave the best of show to, but that piece killed me when I saw it, you know, and they had it put in a corner. It wasn't like out there, because it was like, oh, this piece, but she got best of show.
If you look at, and to the point after the show's over with, I think the next to the point, maybe the one after that, they'll break down on the pieces, how many pieces were in the show, how many pieces were portraits, how many pieces were animals, how many pieces were wildlife. You know, they'll break it down so you have an idea of what how the judge set the show up. I think the judge picked a handful of dogs, I'm not quite sure why, but some judges will pick, well, I know what kind of show they want to put up, and even if there's 10 portraits that are just outstanding, I'm only gonna put up 6, because I wanna make room to put up some dogs. I know these dogs aren't the best, this one isn't the best, but at least it, you know, it fills out the field a little bit. So that's, you know, that's how come you would see shows and you see, why did he pick this and he didn't pick that portrait? Why did he pick this wildlife, but that portrait is better than that tiger? That, were you really at the zoo with that tiger?
Yeah. Well, thank you. I always learn a lot when I come here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
All right, well, our watercolor demo leader just stepped up. So, we got a few minutes here. While we wait for her, I'll just mention, so we got some donations from Legion paper. So these are yours to keep. There's a couple different pieces of cold press and hot press, so a little mix in here to try. And Karen Dosh graciously donated sets of both museum aquarelle pencils and their super color soft. So these are yours to keep, to try out and keep, and maybe combine the so-called speed of watercolor pencil, as Joan was just saying, with color pencils. for Supras. So Molly will do
Yes.
that.
I'm gonna try and do a demo on the aqua white hot cross.
I knew you wanted to know
So a little
how
thicker.
busy a summer schedule
When we can
was.
get that out, and then you can start, here's,
Okay, so
yeah,
it's just a-
on there, but I'm gonna do a quick demo,
One
just
thing
so
that
you know,
Jane
that
said,
this is
I
the
talked
paper I'm
about
gonna
this
use.
February, March.
The Stoneman
And then
Aqua
trying
White
to
Hot
get
Cross,
people who can
275
commit
count.
to more than a week at a time after that.
Yeah.
It took me a few years to do that. So I just do one day workshops throughout the summer. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna do a little quick demo. It seems like there's some interest on watercolor pencils and how to use them, why should I use them, and that sort of thing. So basically, you okay, Joan?
Yeah, I forgot my water.
Okay, we'll wait for Joan. Just taking a break. Everything has the water? Okay, good. Has anybody used watercolor pencils before? Yeah. Is everybody kind of familiar with them? Slightly? Okay. Okay. Yeah, probably don't mind. Usually you can use either side, but we'll use the side with the sticker on it. And then I'm doing, I've got Fabriano right here, which is, it's a cold press. This is hot press, and this is great for doing, colored pencils over, right? So, okay, so, when I started to draw on colored pencils, I was doing a lot of pet portraits, right, in the beginning and that sort of thing. And I was getting so frustrated because colored pencils took so long, right? Layer, layer, layer. And really, especially for the base layers, say it's like a, black dog and gray undertones or whatever, it's like, it's really, you don't really need any detail till the final layers, right? So, and I don't really like using odorless mineral spirits, it's not my favorite. So I got into watercolor pencils. So, and you can really just kind of have fun with watercolor pencils as base layers. And then you can go and do detail with your regular colored pencil. So you can't really go reverse. You can't do your wax, oil and then water over that. Obvious reasons, right? Not really gonna happen. So you wanna do your water first and then do your color pencils over. Now, just to go over quickly, the difference between hot press and cold press. Hot press is basically like ironed paper. It's just nice and smooth. You guys are probably all familiar with that. And then cold press is just like cotton. It's very absorbent, and it's great for when you use a lot of water in watercolor. I do a lot of water, a lot of wet on wet technique, so I usually use a lot of cold press now. But when I do pencils or more detail work, or say, pet portrait, I always do it on hot press. And it's nice from the thicker paper too, right? Versus the thinner here, because the thinner 140s, you can kind of tell it's pretty, especially if you're going to use a lot of water. So we're going to use the thicker today, and I'll just kind of start a little bit with, let me see, I thought I put the colors. Yeah, okay, so you guys have, the difference really, we'll go over the difference between the Museum Aquarelle and the Super Color. The light fastness is pretty good on both of them. The stars on Museum Aquarelle is the light fast rating. So you can see some of them you got 4, some of them are 5, so they're all, you know, it's Karen Dash, they're all pretty good white gloss ratings. And then the super color, they are really kind of softer, you'll be able to tell when you kind of try to feel them out, and they're also brighter colors, so they're very vibrant, bright colors in the super color line. Museum Aquarelle, compared to the Faber-Castell, what's their line called? Their watercolor pencils. The Museum Aquarelles are very opaque. They're almost like gouache a little bit. They're kind of gouache, I call it, right? Because when you put them down, and I'll show you, when you add water, it becomes very kind of thick. So I'll just start doing a little demo with the difference between the two. And the first is the Faber-Castell, their watercolor line. It's kind of like traditional watercolors where it's transparent, really thin. You can get really light washes, but you can layer, right? It's all about layering. Kind of with anything, it's just all about layering. So let's see. There we go. Okay, so I'll just kind of do, here, we might as well do the yellow. So for, I would say for the tulips here, since we're kind of limited on our colors, we're going to do yellow as a base, right? So I'll just put down, and this, the super color is going to be a lot brighter, a really bright yellow. So you can put down that color as a base. And then I'll do the golden yellow, the aquarelle, right next to it. And you can kind of, you'll see kind of the difference. And then, did everybody bring a brush? No. No, I've got plenty, yeah. Okay, so we're back to you. So here, how is the light, is that okay? Okay, good. So that's a pretty bright color, and then if you add water, you can go pretty thin. How many people have worked with watercolors before, or watercolor pencils? Okay. Then you can see Museum Aquarelle. It's a little creamier. I don't know if you'll be able to kind of pick it up on the camera, but it's a kind of a more dense color, right? The strong chroma, thicker pigment. And then let's just kind of blend here so you can just kind of see right away what your red and your yellow on the museum are gonna what's gonna look like. And then kind of a fun thing too, when the paper is still wet, you can get hard edges. You can still do hard edges, right? And get some kind of really neat lines or marks. If you need something, if you need a hard edge, see how bright and creamy that is? The red really shows. And it basically turns into paint. I just pick it right up. Where the Faber-Castell ones, they're not that thick at all. You can't really get that creamy. And then with these, you don't need a lot of water. You just need a tiny little bit. So I'm like kind of just dabbing in the water and getting it on there. So let's mix a little bit. The yellow. You can see how the red really takes over. Okay, so now let's do the red with the super color and just see how they play together. See how much lighter that is. Well, or I should say more transparent. See how more transparent that is? Meaning you can see the paper through it. Okay, good, yeah. So when that dries, guys, you'll be able to see the difference between the two. But, for now, that's transparent, opaque, right? So what I'll do is just start, since I have this kind of sketch ready to go, I think what I'm gonna do is just start doing the background. So it's also, watercolor pencils are also great for backgrounds. As you can see, if you wanna do kind of a bouquet, right, background, that sort of thing, it's great for that. It's really good to get your blurry background or your base colors. So I think what I'm gonna do is start with the yellow, and I'll start with the aquarelle. And I'm gonna hold it kind of, horizontal, because I wanna get a lot of area. So I'm gonna basically hold it, and it also kind of, if you twist, sharpens the pencil too. And now this, you'll see the difference on, this is cold pressed. So you kind of see the difference, how it shows the little grains, which you see when you do colored pencils too. And I think, so that's going to do that, and then I'll do the red. Just gonna kind of go right on top and blend it, and you can be messy. This is kind of the fun part. You can totally be messy because these are just your base layers. And then I'll make a little point there for a petal. And then we can mix a little bit, maybe add a little bit of blue down here, see if we get green. This is a nice light blue. Then I'll put a little bit of the yellow over that. Get some green. I don't think I'm going to do this green leaf right in the middle. It's kind of bugging me. So there we go. We can get our green just by going right over. And take a brush, and then here you go. Isn't that pretty? Look how they just come alive. And then if you want to soften a hard edge, we'll just get this all activated. If you want to do, say, a bouquet kind of an effect, while it's still red, you grab your tissue, and you can just, have your little thumb, and you can kind of do that, right? So you can get it where you want it. You put little drops of water on there. Get kind of a little fun little watercolor purposeful cauliflowers, which I kind of like. So we can do that, and then just gotta wait and let it dry, because it always looks so different. It dries about 2 shades lighter. Now a quick tip on, so say you have this hard edge and you don't want that hard edge, so with a clean brush, you can start from outside and work your way in. And then you can soften your edge, and that will get it a little blurry. Always have a tissue with you, right? Take a lot up. It's like really important to have always like a little tissue. And then you can kind of soften all your edges, and there you go. You're getting, a nice little blurry bouquet background. Oh. Yeah, I didn't know if you were gonna follow along. I was gonna kind of do a quick demo, and then we'll walk around. That's nice. Yeah, that's nice. Anybody else? Yeah, good. Yeah, if you want to kind of start or follow along, that's good. And I'll walk around in a little little bit. I wanna do one more kind of fun little technique. Okay, so we'll let that dry. Again, it's gonna look a lot different when it's dry. So I think for the kind of the main flower here, I'm gonna use the super color because it's this really pretty bright yellow. And I'll go over here because this is dry. So, and I'm just gonna cover the whole thing in yellow. And then, you know, once you get a few layers of this on, then you go in and you can do your pencils over. Like I'll show a little, you know, like the white, if you brought your white, how many brought a white watercolor pencil? Yeah, it works really well over. It's almost like the Karen Dash, the Museum Aquarelle. It's almost like gouache. So when you put it over and then activate it with some water, it's basically really lightens up whatever's underneath there. Okay, so now we have this nice bright yellow. Bless you. And if you're using the hot press paper, it's gonna look a little different too. It's gonna look a lot smoother. You can kind of see the difference in the hot press. But I just had this one ready to go, so I'll just okay, then see what this, while I still kind of see my lines, I'm gonna go right over it because it's pretty dark. We got some dark values right in the center here. So I'm gonna go right in there while it's wet. And you see how it's pretty thick? See how fast I'm covering the paper? And it's blending because it's still red underneath. So, I mean, that was pretty fast. You have to, I'm gonna take you 10 minutes in color pencil. So, that's pretty much why I got really into the watercolor pencils, just for the speed of it all.
I have a question.
Yes?
For these pencils, are they workable once again after they're dry, unlike Inktense that?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you can still rework.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, so let me get this wet, and then I'll show you kind of another fun cool technique.
I find that like you put the yellow down and then you go in with your lines. And I find then those lines don't go away, they don't really blend. I mean, I see you doing it up there, but I tried it on.
I'll come over.
Yeah.
I'll walk around.
And that's why I think I've upgraded it, because then all of a sudden you get pencil lines. Even though I guess you can go back with your club pencil and.
Right, maybe just use a little more water on your brush and activate it a little more, move it around. That's probably what I would do. So while it's still wet, I've got my little craft knife here, it's kind of like the X-Acto knife. And I also have my pencil sharpener sandpaper, right? So say you want to do, like there's some little pieces, kind of texture effect there in the tulip. So let's try to get that. So what I'm going to do is kind of drying fast. I can feel it. The vent is going right down on it. So I'm gonna activate it, get it red. Again. Yeah. There. Okay. Now it's wet. So what I'm going to do is take take this one because it's a little longer, is take your red and then just scrape a little bit, and you get some really kind of nice shadings, basically. You can do that, and then you can also do that with white. So if you want to get some kind of cool little white highlights. And then sometimes if it still wasn't wet enough, you just take a spray bottle. There you go. And then just kind of leave it. And then that will, or you could kind of start blending it in. Now this is cold press. With the hot press, you know, with the thinner sheet of hot press, you'd have to kind of be a little careful because it won't take that much water. But it's just kind of a fun effect, and this is how it dried like that. So if you want to get some kind of textured effect. So let's do this green. You can see how they blend together when they are, you know, layered on top of each other. You get kind of a fun little green here, a earthy green. Great. A little violet. Great. I'll put a little drop in there, a little bouquet. Any questions? Anybody need tissue to kind of, for some lifting? I put paper towels there, but tissue is a lot easier for lifting. Yeah. Yeah. Tissues. You got tissues, okay.
Do you ever use Viva, Molly?
Yeah, I'm sorry?
Do you ever use Viva?
Viva?
Paper towels, Viva?
The cloth,
Yeah,
yes.
They're kind of in between cloth and paper, and they're more expensive, but one roll lasts for infinity.
Those are what I have in my studio.
Yeah.
I just brought these for
Okay,
today.
so you-
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, they can, have a little lint on them, so the cloth, like paper towels are kind of the better ones. Yeah. Good. Okay, so what do you do?
You're, yeah, that's great. That's cool.
I like that. Oh. Okay. You have a brush? Yeah. Usually you can kind of manipulate it. So the brush, this brush. I usually have yeah. I usually have, I think it's the paper it's a really, yeah, it's really like, it's almost treats it like it's ink. Yeah. Yeah.
Or if you put it on dry and then, you know, and then you get your.
Yeah, like this you can probably, so that's the, yeah. Totally depends on the paper, it really does. But I know most, you know, we're gonna be using more hot press, so hot press, it definitely absorbs fast, it almost like stains it.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas cold press, this is why, yeah, you gotta use that for watercolor, yeah. So that's, yeah, so if you're gonna do like hard lines or anything, you know, just make sure you they're where you want them. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Cause
Yeah, they're so pretty.
yeah, cause anytime it's dry, you can get rid of that.
Yeah, you could definitely layer over that, for sure. Yeah, but that's, yeah, it just. You can, it's a good way to say it. Let's see what we got. Yay.
Fun.
Yeah, that's
A
beautiful.
lot faster than color pencil.
Exactly, yeah. Great. Love it. And,
I never used those in all the years that.
use what? Pencils? Watercolor pencils? Oh my gosh. Watercolor.
Yeah, watercolor pencils, never in all the years that.
Oh my gosh.
No, I just never used them.
Yeah.
These
Well-
things a certain way, and I've learned a lot in the last few years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're so.
Okay, okay, you're very welcome. Yes, okay. It's nice to see you. Yes, okay, bye. Yeah, so you can, yeah, and it's just speeds up the color pencil process.
Yeah, because
Yeah, that's really what
the
it,
color pencil process.
that's really what it's about for me, just speeding everything up.
Well,
Yeah.
because, you know, I started, this is just a study, blah, 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 yes, will. I don't even want to think about it. All the time you spend,
Yeah,
you know, just with the layering and.
I don't know why I'm doing watercolor now.
I know. Yeah, right, exactly.
Aren't they beautiful? They're kind of addicting. And the great thing is that the white, you can do the white pencil. So the white aquarelle pencil, I used a lot over wax colored pencils to get the white. Like it goes over wax, just not with water, right? So like let's, I'll use this one.
I did my whoopie pie, the white in there is the aquarelle white.
And where?
My whoopie pie on my recipe.
Oh, is that how you got it so white? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so see, it goes right over the red.
White dry and then I
I mean, it's not
some people use it.
super bright white, but no, it's dry, yeah. So my museum aquarelle pencil is, gotta have that in my toolkit. And then I have some, I did bring some regular colored pencils. I actually liked the Holbein over. The Holbein really, I don't know if because they're super waxy or what, but they really do well over the watercolor. I mean, they blend nicely. So for final layers, either the Holbein or the Caran d'Ache. For creamy mixing. See that you get your details and your lighter colors actually go over. You can see I'm just doing. Now I can get more of the shape of the petal. And then it even goes over the white, so a lot of times I like to put white down first. And then I do, like I wanted a really bright yellow, so I have the white here, that's the museum aquarelle. And then I'll do the color, the yellow over it. And that helps to, instead of just doing the yellow. I like doing that. Any other questions? Well, you guys seem to be having fun,
What do you do if you wanted to, you know how like in watercolor, there's frisket or whatever, it's called masking.
Masking?
Yeah, do you have any, if you don't use that, anything that you like to do?
I use masking fluid a lot for watercolor. And is there something else you mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, do you have any other tips?
I've been doing, there's like a wax crayon that I do for it kinda creates a nice water effect, especially on cold press, because of the little, you know, texture. So I do, just a clear wax crayon, and then I do the wash, right, and then it doesn't absorb. It kinda looks really, yeah, it creates a fun texture.
Or even those ones you skip, or the Easter eggs.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
the wax.
right, it's just kind of something fun to play with. I just used it, like in like just little areas in the painting, you know, like maybe for rocks or something like that. But, yeah, as far as preserving, it's really just masking fluid and then lifting, there's always the lifting. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, yeah, good. See how fast?
Yeah.
See how much faster it is? Yeah. Oh, you're yeah. Yeah. You wanna try a background? Try to like do the, where you're done, yeah. I think these are okay for the show, right? Yeah. It's basically just instead of OMS. Oh, we've got the Derwent. How do you like the Derwents?
I like them pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, these move, if you put them down dry, these move. Sometimes you sort
Okay. I don't think I've never used a Derwent, yeah.
I like the, I've got a couple crayons that.
Over here. Oh, yeah?
Which ones?
Oh, no, I have a few, but I kind of forget about them. So you're using them a lot?
And I'm afraid that all the time with the lines. I mostly just play with them.
Yeah. You probably have to just experiment with different
For a
papers.
background.
Yes. I can see that for sure, but not for detail, yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. Definitely gonna try. Yeah. And are they light fast? Yeah. Usually carrots, they're pretty good. Do you care?
You know, and I don't think they,
Cold press. And because you're able to lift a lot easier. Okay, bye, Sharon. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's staying, it's staying good. It's cold press is the best to lift. Thank you. Uh-huh. It looks so pretty. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, but try the thicker cold press, and then, yeah, maybe use a sticker side, because you can always use the other side if you wanna paint something else. Yeah. This biggest screen yard, and do you like them?
I
Have
do,
you
it's just different, and I like to, experiment with things for underpainting that's gonna hasten the color
Speed it
pencil
up, yep.
process, because it's pretty intense.
Yeah, that's
In fact,
beautiful.
There was a piece that I wanted to submit to the international show, and there was no way I was gonna get it done, so then I started piecing it on. And there's still no way that I was, and it's still not done.
It's still, oh my gosh.
It's just,
Yeah.
you know, it could have been done, but I had invested so much time into it, I didn't wanna rush it,
Smart.
so I just.
I've
so
done
there's
that.
always next year, right?
I've done that. I've rushed it and I regretted it.
I,
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Good
this,
idea, yeah.
and this particular piece was very important to me personally,
Mm-hmm.
and had a lot of meaning, and why was I gonna rush the details on that?
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah.
But if now this, would this be okay for information?
Mhm.
Use what is the
Because of the
pencil.
pencil,
But
yeah.
you can't use the neon color too.
I don't-
underneath.
I don't
Because
know.
that's why.
Oh,
I had
because
to
it's not a
enter explore
pencil.
this. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see her explore this one.
It's that, it was the dude or whatever, the man saying,
I'll have to go look for it. Okay, I can remember that.
that's my son.
Do you hear? Okay. Well, that's really pretty. Do you have you do have some white? Yeah.
I did, yeah, but it wasn't dry enough to try it.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's
really
fun
pretty.
because you could just think about the shapes.
Exactly. Exactly. It's all
Then
the
you can,
shapes.
yeah,
The shapes and your values.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you got. Yeah.
it's really fun. Thanks
Yeah.
for bringing this stuff and doing this.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I picked a good thing, first meeting to go to.
Yeah, good.
Gluten-free,
You have
dairy-free
free stuff
recipes and good stuff.
Yeah.
With the- It's a good first meeting.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, I'm gluten-free and I try and be dairy-free.
Oh, wow.
Not too much anymore, but the gluten-free I really try. I don't have celiac, but
Yes.
I found that it really, really helps.
Yeah.
Helps you feel better. Oh my goodness, yes.
Oh, I was
Just, I mean, huge,
If you have,
huge
I think
difference.
if you have like something with a big background, you know, that's blurry and it'll save you so much time.
There's a lot more options than there were like 40 years ago, I can tell you that.
I mean, even
It's
this.
free.
Oh, yeah. Do you
Right,
have
your
a
base
in
layers
front of the
there.
gluten-free?
I mean,
I
that's,
don't put it all.
that's
all
really
the
beautiful. I mean, now you just need, you know, your color pencil layers and
They
two
have
or three layers.
amazing gluten, I don't know if you like granola, like I have granola on top of my, yogurt sometimes. And they have.
Yeah, exactly.
amazing
Just play around and see how it lifts.
I mean,
Really
granola, and it's oats, they have, I like the raisins that they have, I think.
In the hot press. Yeah, so the hot press
But I like the
kind of stain it a lot faster versus the
Yeah,
cold
and then they
press.
have gluten.
So it's a good kind of experiment
Like for,
to use, yeah, try both, exactly, yeah.
Oh, okay. Tracy's talking about the. Trader Joe's.
Oh, no, I have a lot of stuff too.
Pardon?
Dolly is a lot cheaper.
Okay.
Gluten-free.
But you can still, that will still blend, so if you put say
I don't know,
yellow,
I try and stay away from that because
it'll
it's
still
sugar,
blend.
but yeah, really, really good options.
It should still,
I'll have to check it out.
you just gotta put a lot, yeah.
All the things you learn at color pencil meetings.
It'll-
All the importance life that blessing.
Yeah, just a touch, go right into the reds, and then that will smooth it out, everything. And then like a tiny little touch of water.
Yeah, I feel like
And see what happens and what does.
And even that, and that's how I got into it.
That's water right now. That's pigment, yeah.
You can really put a lot
Oh,
on
yeah, yeah, especially with the thicker,
like she was.
Yeah.
Glasses and water.
yeah. Oh, good, you got pictures. Yay. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I like these. These are really, I have all my.
Hey, you talk down.
I have white and I have, but I guess when I do someone in, I have these.
Oh, okay.
I guess the person that show us.
Yes. Right, that's the, yeah. Favors, they're with me. Yeah. Yeah. Right, exactly, exactly, yeah, yeah.
So
detail, or you can do your, if you have a blurry background. That's why I chose this picture, because it's got blurry and then it's got detail. So, it's just great for speeding it up. Speeding up the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was working with paint classes right now, and, just the spray paint.
Yeah, that's
The
fun.
spray bottle was like, oh, that was.
It's speaking to a lot of people, but it's clear.
Well,
They
they're
don't think
very,
it's
but
a
it's
big-
water right now, like,
They had to see the link.
It's urban.
It is.
Maybe another y'all hang out till the show. Yeah, give it another year.
Yes, it's it. I like that. I haven't heard that one yet.
Now it's, yeah, so.
Oh, what is it?
Try
You wanna go first, or-
Okay, yeah, so the cold press is nice because, so the hot press.
More stains.
Well,
Sorry.
I read up.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the
It's
cold
very
press is
difficult for me.
much easier, like you won't get.
I like this cold press, Molly.
Yeah, yeah, and you'll get, that's how you get this type of, right.
It's such a challenge.
I would- Yeah, so if you want fine detail, you do the hot press. If you do wanna get the blurriness and all that, this is cold pressed.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
We'll be more pencil.
Yeah.
More detail.
Right, but just so you know, if you try this on hot press, you're not gonna get the same result. Yeah, cause that's what everybody was saying.
It's more like-
Yeah, try the hot press, yeah, for sure.
Alright.
Yeah. Totally different, right? It's more watercolor sheet. That's a word, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I know, right? You just get so much more done. So, big difference, yeah, is that is cold press versus hot press. So, you kind of have to decide how much, if you're gonna use hot press, maybe you're gonna have a lot of detail and that sort of thing. If you're gonna go with cold press, maybe it's more of a landscape, right? And you need things kind of blurry in the background. So that would be the biggest difference, cold press, hot press. Are you cold press or hot press?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's so bright.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, it's fun. There you go, it's got it. Yeah, that's good for hot press. It did Yeah, oh good.
You know where I left that.
Just needed a few more layers.
Well, you have to wait for, I don't know, I have much more on the line.
There you go. Yeah.
You did,
Yeah, perfect.
Just a little thing.
Perfect. I love to use toothbrushes. This is my favorite brush for years. I have one like that. I think I bought 2 cents maybe, because I just wear it out. I love those brushes.
But if you want to try to be.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay. I was wondering how that got. Yeah. That's really good. You just see,
And I haven't really used it.
see so much. Oh, that's great, that's fun, that's great for maybe like leaves or petals.
Yeah.
Or just, that's why it's fireflies. Yeah, that's really
I
good.
gotta say, I
Yeah.
Well,
Excellent.
do more around. Cause I'm like.
That's true, that I use those, I just use them at the beach, and draw on the shells.
Oh.
Yeah, because once they're dry.
Yeah, you can't lift, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe finishing, you know, this one, they're down.
Right, yeah.
Oh my
They
gosh,
are
that's
nice,
all
it's nice,
done.
it's covered in bright.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Whatever, step one.
Beautiful garden.
A good time of the year
Yeah.
to be inspired.
Yeah.
So I go, yes, I know how to do it.
Yeah. Okay, is that fun?
Some toys to play with.
Anybody wanna try the, anybody wanna try the scraping technique, or?
Yes.
Okay, I'll pass the sandpaper is okay, you kinda use a lot of the pencil, but try this, make sure it's kinda sharp, it's gotta be wet, so if you wanna like, no, your paper has to be wet. Yeah, so give it, and then, just wet, like, I would probably honestly use the white. Yeah, no, it's okay.
Oh, you tried
Oh, maybe the red, I'm just thinking what will show up, what will show up. There you go. And then, sprayer. Yeah. And then now you can kind of paint, you can kind of move it around a little bit, right? Yeah. So now you can move it around a little bit. Do you guys wanna try the scraper? Are you wet? It's pretty wet there.
So, yeah, is it too, early or late?
Let me see, is it, how wet is it? Let me go get the white one. See, I see a little wet maybe right there.
Yeah.
It's not show on the, show more on the red.
So what you just did, or you?
I'm gonna spray it, yeah, and then I'm gonna do the red, because you'll see it. They're just kinda sharpen it. There we go. There you go. Okay, now let's spray. And then you can just kinda watch it, but you can also, since you're gonna do real like watercolor. There you go.
Oh, good.
Yeah, just kind of move it around with wet on wet. So that kind of creates a little texture. Yeah. You wanna do it, or? No, yeah. Okay. You wanna do anything wet? I just use that, yeah. So you kind of like, yeah. You wanna do it?
On your palette.
Okay, yeah, do that, and then we'll spray it, yeah. If it's not wet, it's just easier to spray it, yeah. Do a little hit. Go ahead, scrape some more. you're not gonna, you don't wanna do it,
Oh, you screwed up.
yeah,
Pencil on.
yeah, yeah. And then either spray, it. If it's wet, you just, it'll do its thing, it disperse.
Yeah.
Otherwise you spray it. So we spray it some more? Sure. Like that, yeah. There you go.
So then after you, do you wet it or do you spray it?
I
wet
spray it. Oh, you wet it? Okay.
And I put it on, so then you
Let's
go
give it
in
a little
and-
spray, yeah. See what happens.
Let it go.
There you go. It looks good when you have your yellow base and then do the red over it. So now let's scrape the red on there. Let's see. We'll do like a little abstract one.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. See, I was trying to get the little dots there. Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then it works a lot better on
the
whole dots too. Yeah.
different colors and shadows.
Whoa.
Thinking of values and stuff.
Ooh, there you go. So now if you wanna move it around,
Fun.
right? Yeah.
Quick.
Fun. We're getting artsy fartsy. Do you wanna try it? I mean, I
Why
can.
not?
Yeah, we
What are
could
we
do it
trying?
like on another area if you want, just to show. So it's to get the little, basically to try to get the little spots, right? That's kind of what it's about. So we scrape the color on there and then I spray it. And it,
Okay.
yeah, and it just kind of spreads out.
So, let's do yellow with green or green with yellow? I mean,
So, I would say this yellow one, we would do the red over it if you wanna do, or.
like on here,
Yeah, because
right in here,
the yellow probably won't show too
Right.
much up here.
right in here.
Yes,
So do
yeah.
the red on top of it.
Yeah, so
Okay,
we
it's
just
not
do
wet
like a
anymore.
little scrape, kind of warm it.
But I still see every once in a while it pops up on my desk. It's colors so dark.
And then, you know, we spray it and then you can still like paint or use your paintbrush, yeah. Alright, let's see what happens. Yeah, I'll need a little more, so go ahead and you can do a little more pigment.
Yeah, it's something I wouldn't have tried.
Yeah. Yes. There you go. And then you can do white, it's gotta be really dark for the white to show.
Oh.
You know what I mean, but the white, you could kind of do almost like a snow, if you want like a snow effect.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it's really dark, you can do the white. David, you want to scrape? Sure, okay, probably red over the yellow would probably be the best. So just kind of do a little scraping where you want of the color. Okay. Here, let me show you. Let's see, so let's do, yeah. If the paper isn't wet, you can just kind of like powder, right? We'll just kind of get those darker values right there, and then spray. Cool. And then you can do more or less, or you can still manipulate it with your brush. So, do you want to do more? Or is that good? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Right. It's kind of fun. It's a fun background thing to do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. That's where you learn.
Okay, I'll give it a spray. Still gonna activate all that too. And then you can tilt, right, move it around. Do you want me to spray more here, or do you like that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, there we go, that looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks good. And take your tissue a lot if you wanna do an effect or, yeah. Yeah. So you can use your brush to manipulate if you want.
we were in class next to each other.
That looks really
I
cool.
love that.
Yeah, you kind of did it, you kind of did the exact same thing. Yeah. Do you wanna scrape? You wanna do a little, it's kind of dark, maybe try the white, I don't know, it's so dark. Yeah. Try that one over the dark, or do, I don't know, maybe like, you know, what'd be cool, is like a blue and a yellow. Mix them up, going down here and do a green. Yeah, I know, I'm only I have 3 things, so I'm only gonna do.
So you want to go home.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't wanna take your pencil and walk away. Definitely done that before. Yeah, that's gonna look pretty.
I do like it.
Alright, let's see what happens. There you go. So maybe add a little more yellow, or whatever you want to do. Yeah, the white didn't really.
That's what I'm all about.
Yeah.
I do use a
Great, right? So,
Just wanna do it a little, just there. Yeah. Maybe this yellow, it's brighter. Maybe that yellow over where it's wet, right there, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even look at,
yeah.
I thought that was the other.
No, this is General Kimberly.
Oh, where's the, oh, here's the, try that one, that one was really bright. There you go. Yeah, let that, yeah, let that just kind of absorb. It'll get yellow. You can tilt it. Oh, cool. You want this, okay, yeah. Try a little more. A little more pencil, a little more scraping, yeah. You have yours, okay.
Let's compare it to others. Oh, right, these are.
Yeah, for sure, it's gonna be kind of dark though, so the white tissue on here. But yeah, the white is nice for like snow.
Seem really rich, yeah.
Yeah.
You have the whole
There you
set.
go. And then you can tilt to move it around.
I have a
kind of. Fun.
Not a show. Oh, you just saw it. Yeah. Oh, we would say,
Oh, no, these are real.
I gotta get the new one, or the new me. Thank you. Here, I'll do it over your shoulder, those are always kind of nice. So pretty. Okay, how did it dry? Oh, that's cool, it's looking good.
Yeah, it's really
Fun.
Case.
Yeah, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Arches, Fabriano, I like,
I think is the best. I like the bright
Have
white.
you ever used the pastel?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And that works with a little water
And I love
too.
drafting film with for animals.
Yes,
not for people.
exactly. Well, I would do too. If it's animals, yes, I really got into drafting film and I kind of faded away, but.
Then this piece that I'm working on, it's not pastel mat, but I'm working on it too.
It's better there.
It's great. I really want to put in so much more detail.
Fixative actually works.
It does.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a run out of tube on pastel mat. I think
It's a lot of layers. Oh, I've done that. I've done exactly that.
From Russian. That was from Russian. It's just taking time.
Right?
But after
Use
so many
watercolor
hours.
pencils for your face layers. Maybe I'm right here.
Yeah.
To Blair, I go on this side.
Good pretty.
Yeah. So I'll make this. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
No, nature, you just. So the one that I did office and burgers. I didn't get a good shot. I think I got it. Yeah. Yeah, they let me use it. They actually were winning it, yeah. That's actually a Right. But I mean, that's pretty good, because it's not easy with the Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, oh my gosh, sure, I don't know, it's just as easy to